Hey everyone, as a dive professional, you know you've got to be ready for just about anything. But what's your game plan when a potential student walks up and tells you they have Parkinson's? It's a situation that requires a lot more than our standard checklist. So in this explainer, we're going to build a really clear framework to help you make that call safely, professionally, and with confidence.
So, picture this. That's the real-world scenario. The moment they ask, your duty of care kicks in. And look, this isn't about a simple yes or no answer. It's about having a solid, dependable system in place to make a safe, informed decision. Let's start building that system right now. Okay, first things first, a quick primer. We all generally know that Parkinson's affects motor control. But for us, as instructors, the two most important words you see here are highly variable and fluctuate. What does that mean? It means the student who seems perfectly capable and steady in the morning could be facing totally different challenges by the afternoon dive. That unpredictability, well, that's the heart of the challenge for us.
So let's dive into Section 1, the challenge. Before we can even talk about solutions or adaptive techniques, we have to get really specific about the problems. We're going to break down exactly how the symptoms of Parkinson's translate into real, tangible risks in our underwater classroom.
This is where the theory really hits the water. Let's connect these medical terms to actual diving problems. You see, bradykinesia, that's just a technical term for slow movement. But underwater, that means struggling to fin against a little bit of current, or being too slow to make a critical buoyancy tweak. Rigidity doesn't just mean feeling a bit stiff. It can mean physically being able to reach a valve behind you, or even get your hands to your face to clear a flooded mask. And tremors? Well, they can make holding a stable trim almost impossible, let alone trying to operate a small button on a dive computer. And you know, it's not just about movement. The medication itself is a massive factor. A lot of people experience what they call on-off periods. That's when the medication is working great, and then suddenly it's not. Now just imagine a diver entering an off state and losing mobility in the middle of a dive. That's a 5-alarm emergency right there. And then you have other side effects, like nausea or just this deep, profound fatigue that can totally sap a diver's stamina to handle even minor issues.
And listen, the risks start way before anyone even gets in the water. A rocking boat deck can be an absolute minefield for someone with postural instability. But that's not all. We've also got to think about the cognitive side. Diving requires quick, clear thinking, especially when things go wrong. A delayed response underwater, well, that has consequences that are way more serious than a stumble on the deck.
All right, we've laid out the hazards. Now for the most important part, what we can do about them. This next section is your practical toolkit. We're going to match a specific, actionable control measure to every single risk we just talked about. This chart is fantastic because it makes it so clear. We don't just see a problem and stop, we find a control. So is the hazard postural instability on the boat? The control is simple. Use seated kitting stations. Is the big risk that their medication might wear off mid-dive? The control is to have a detailed conversation and plan the dive for their most stable on window. The key takeaway here is that for every risk we can identify, there's a potential control we can put in place.
These controls form the bedrock of our adaptive techniques. And you should really think of these as your non-negotiables. A shallow water skills assessment? That's not optional. It's mandatory before you even think about open water. One-on-one instruction? It's not a luxury. For safety, it's often an absolute necessity. And maybe most importantly, you are the final judge of the conditions. If there's a current ripping or the water is just too cold, you make the call to scrub the dive. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Okay, so we've got the risks, we've got the tools, now we have to put it all together to make the final call. This section is all about creating a clear green light versus red light framework for that big decision.
But, and this is a huge but, before you even begin your own assessment, this is the absolute first step. You are not a doctor. Your assessment is about the operational side of things. The medical fitness to dive decision must come from a physician, preferably one who specializes in diving medicine. This protects you, student, and it protects you, period. So, once you have that medical clearance in hand, your operational assessment begins. This slide gives us a great side-by-side comparison for our go/no-go decision.
On the green light side, we're looking for stability, right? Mild, predictable symptoms, the ability to handle some light exertion without any problems. Now, on the red light side, it's all about unpredictability. Are there sudden off periods? Are tremors so severe they can't even clear a mask? Is their balance so shaky that just being on the boat is the most dangerous part of the day? These are the real-world factors that should guide your call.
And that brings us to our final section. Honestly, if you only take one single thing away from this whole explainer, I want it to be this. Your assessment is never, ever finished. The decision you make today is only valid for today.
Just let that quote sink in for a second. Parkinson's is a progressive disease. A student who was totally fine and safe diving with you last season might not be this season. The certification card you issue is not a lifetime pass to dive under any condition. Your assessment has to be a continuous, ongoing process.
This brings it all down to a simple daily checklist every single time you plan to get in the water. Number 1, watch them. How's their balance on the boat today? How are they managing their gear right now? 2, just ask them, straight up. How are you feeling right now? Is today a good day? They know their body better than anyone. And number 3, and this is crucial, be the professional. Have the courage to make the right call, not just the easy one. Trust me, canceling a dive because it isn't safe is the ultimate mark of a truly confident and competent instructor.
So the bottom line is this. Assessment is never just a box you tick on a form. It's a living, breathing part of your duty of care. And yeah, we've focused on Parkinson's today, but this principle, it applies to every single student on every single dive. So the real question to ask yourself is, how will this mindset, this idea of continuous dynamic reassessment, make you an even safer, more effective instructor for everyone you teach?